Hello, everyone. This is Grace. It is December the 11th, 2020, and we are going to take a look at Ezekiel chapter 16. Now, Ezekiel chapter 16, um, it is kind of a prophetic parable. So there's not a lot that we're going to see in here. Because we're supposed to understand everything that's going on in this parable. But we'll read it together. We'll read it together, but it's not like the other books where you're giving new information and things such as that. Just be aware of that. Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations, and say, Thus saith the Lord God unto Jerusalem, Thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan. Thy father was an Amorite, and thy mother an Hittite. Now, these are all heathen nations. Amorites and Hittites, I'm not real familiar with them. I recognize the names. I know Canaan, the wise men were Canaanites, and a lot of the spiritualism stuff came from there. And then Amorites, these are all idol worshippers. But I don't have a lot of information about them. We get the point without that. And as for thy nativity, in the day thou wast born, thy navel was not cut, neither wast thou washed in water to supple thee. Thou wast not salted at all, nor swaddled at all. None I pitied thee to do any of these unto thee, to have compassion upon thee. But thou wast cast out into the open field to the loathing of thy person in the day that thou wast born. And when I passed by thee, and saw thee polluted in thine own blood, I said unto thee, when thou wast in thy own blood, of course blood means she's about to die, dissolution of premature loss of life. I said unto thee, when thou wast in thy blood, live. Yea, I said unto thee, when thou wast in thy blood, live. I have caused thee to multiply as the bud of the field, and thou hast increased and waxen great, and thou art come into excellent ornaments. Thy breasts are fashioned, and thine hair is grown, whereas thou wast naked and bare. So we were nothing to nobody as the Christian. Nobody cared about us, and when we were laid out and about to die, Yahweh came and found us. This is the state that we were in. We were as nothing to nobody, laid out into the field, about to die. And then he came and gave us life. And not only did he give us life, he gave it to us abundantly. He caused us to multiply as the bud of the field. And we've increased and waxen great, and have come to excellent ornaments. Thy breasts are fashioned, and thy hair is grown, and we're beautiful. Whereas before we were just naked and bare, and in our own blood, about to die. So, let's continue on. Now when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love. And I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, saith the Lord God, and thou becamest mine. He married us. We were his bride. Then washed I thee with water, yea, I thoroughly washed away thy blood from thee, and I anointed thee with oil. I clothed thee also with broidered work, and shod thee with badger skin, and I girded thee about with fine linen. I think badger skin is used in the sanctuary. I can't remember. I wish I would have noticed that before. I think that badger skin is used in the sanctuary. I clothed thee also with broidered work, and shod thee with badger skin, and I girded thee about with fine linen, and covered thee with silk. All of these are very familiar, except for the silk. I'm not sure if that's used as part of the sanctuary. I decked thee also with ornaments, and I put bracelets upon thine hand, and a chain upon thy neck. Oh, we were decked out. Talk about being the spoiled wife. I just the best of everything. And I put a jewel on thy forehead, and earrings in thy ears, and a beautiful crown upon thy head. Thus wast thou decked with gold and silver, and thy raiment was of fine linen and silk embroidered work. Thou didst eat fine flour and honey and oil, and thou wast exceedingly beautiful, and thou didst prosper into a kingdom. Okay. That's us. And thy renown, that's the good part. That's when we're with our husband. But lo, it was not to remain. Let's continue. And now renown went forth amongst the heathen for thy beauty, for it was perfect through thy comeliness, which I had put upon thee, saith the Lord God. But thou did trust in thine own beauty, and playest the harlot because of thy renown, and pourest out thy fornications on every one that passed by. His it was. And of thy garments thou did take, and deckest thy high places with diverse colors, and playest a harlot upon thereupon. The like thing shall not come, neither shall it be so. We were just the worst, or still are, or are yet to be. We yet to be the worst. Thou also hast taken thy fair jewels of my gold and of my silver, which I have given thee, and madest to thyself images of men, and didst commit whoredom with them. And tookest thy broidered garments, and coverest them, and thou hast set mine oil and mine incense before them. So we have taken his gifts that he has given us. Never mind. We'll continue on. And just giving them to men that we commit whoredoms for. My meat also which I gave thee, fine flour and oil and honey, wherewith I fed thee, thou hast even set it before them for a sweet savor, and thus it was, saith the Lord God. Moreover, thou hast taken thy sons and thy daughters, whom thou hast borne unto me, and these how thou hast thou sacrificed unto them to be devoured. Is this of thy whoredoms a small matter? This is so sad. It's not bad enough that she's given herself, she's given her gifts, and now she's handed over her children to be devoured as well. That thou hast, is this of thy whoredoms a small matter, that thou hast slain my children and delivered them to cause them to pass through the fire for them? For them. For the heathen, for the, hold on. Here. But thou did trust in thine own beauty, and playest the harlot because of thy renown, and pourest out thy fornication on every one that passed by. His it was. And she took the garments, and deckest their high places with colors. Took her fair jewels, took the broidered garments and covers them, and his oil and his incense he set before them, and gave his children. Oh, we forgot the meat, the flour, the honey, and then the children. Okay. In all thine abominations and thy whoredoms, thou hast not remembered the days of thy youth, when thou wast naked and bare, and was polluted in thy blood. And it came to pass after all thy wickedness, woe, woe unto thee, saith the Lord God, that thou hast also built unto thee an eminent place. This is our time. This is woe, woe. That's our time. That thou also hast built unto thee an eminent place, and hast made thee a high place in every street. Thou hast built thy high places at the head of every way, and hast made thy beauty to be abhorred, and hast opened thy feet to everyone that has passed by, and multiplied thy whoredoms. Look, this is the truth. If you, every once in a while, I don't really even watch them anymore, but every once in a while on YouTube, you'll come across some of the symbolism for Satanism and all of these fake idol worshiping religions, right? And if you just drive down the street, all of these fast food places, all of the small businesses, all of them have symbolism, of satanic symbolism in idol worship, stuff against God. And I think the cross is an idol as well. There's no, no. All of it's you just look down the street and all you see are satanic symbols. Anyway, but you don't know it. We don't know it. But they're on every street. They're in every town. It's everywhere. Okay. Thou hast built thy high place at every head of the way, and hast made thy beauty to be abhorred, and hast opened thy feet to every one that passed by, and multiplied thy whoredoms. Thou hast also committed fornication with the Egyptians, thy neighbors, great of flesh, and has increased thy whoredoms to provoke me to anger. Idol worship is what the Egyptians are known for. Behold, therefore, not only idol worship, outright defiance of Yahweh. I mean, how you gonna say, I don't know your God? You got a whole country of just bold, bold defiance. Behold, therefore I have stretched out my hand over thee, and have diminished thine ordinary food, and delivered thee unto the will of them that hate thee, the daughters of the Philistines, which are ashamed of thy lewd ways. Ain't that a shame? Here we got a heathen nation. Oh yeah, listen, this is a heathen nation, and they are ashamed of our lewd ways. What does that say? Thou hast played the whore also with the Assyrians, because thou wast unsatiable. Yea, thou hast played the harlot with them, and yet couldst not be satisfied. Thou hast moreover multiplied thy fornications in the land of Canaan unto Chaldea, and yet thou wast not satisfied herewith. How weak is thine heart, saith the Lord God, seeing thou doest all these things, the work of an imperious, whorish woman, in that thou buildest thine eminent place in the head of every way, and makest thine high place in every street, and has not been as an harlot, in that thou scornest hire. But we don't mind giving, you don't mind giving our lovers gifts. We just give them all the gifts that the Lord has given us. But as a wife that committeth adultery, which taketh strangers instead of her husband, they give gifts to all whores, but thou givest thy gifts to all thy lovers, and hirest them, that they may come unto thee on every side for thy whoredoms. And the contrary is in thee from other women's in thy whoredoms, whereas none followeth thee to commit whoredoms, and in that thou givest a reward, and no reward is given unto thee. Therefore thou art contrary. Wherefore, O harlot, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God, because thy filthiness was poured out, and thy nakedness discovered through thy whoredoms with thy lovers, and with all the idols of thy abominations, and by the blood of thy children, which thou didst give unto them. Behold, therefore I will gather all thy lovers, with whom thou hast taken pleasure, and all them that thou hast loved, and all them that thou hast hated. I will gather them round about against thee, and will discover thy nakedness unto them, and that they may see all thy nakedness. Now we know that this is the siege, and we kind of came to the conclusion that because they can't all circle us, but we know all of the heathen nations are going to be against us, that means nobody's going to sell us food. Nobody's going to sell us any food. We're going to be totally dependent, and nobody's going to trade with us. We are going to be besieged that way, because that's what they would do. They would shut you in, and you could not go in or out. We can't go to any of the heathen nations. We cannot trade with them. We cannot buy food from them. All of them are against us. And I will judge thee as a woman that breaketh wedlock, and sheds blood, and shed blood are judged. And I will give thee blood in fury and in jealousy. And I will also give thee into their hands, and they shall throw down thy eminent place, and they shall break down thy high places, and they shall strip thee also of thy clothes, and shall take thy fair jewels, and leave thee naked and bare. And this is the captivity here. I'll put the link at the end. If you're not aware of the captivity, the 70-year captivity prophecy in Jeremiah, you can look at those videos. But this is where we go into captivity. They shall also bring up a company against thee, and they shall stone thee with stones, and thrust thee through with their swords, and they shall burn thine houses with fire, and execute judgments upon thee in the sight of many women. And I will cause thee to cease from playing the harlot, and thou also shalt give no hire any more. So will I make my fury toward thee to rest, and my jealousy shall depart from thee, and I will be quiet, and I will be angry no more. because thou hast not remembered the days of thy youth, but hast fretted me in all these things. Behold, therefore, I will recompense thy way upon thine head, saith the Lord God, and thou shalt not commit this lewdness above all thine abominations. The land is, well, the land has to be desolate. So they're going to come and get us, and there's going to be some chaos. Of course, there's going to be some war. Okay. Behold, everyone that uses proverbs, I should have did that while it was fresh in my mind. Burn thy houses with fire, and execute judgments upon thee in sight of many women, and I will cause thee to cease from playing the harlot. See, in Revelation 15, it says once we get to these foreign nations, that the remnant, he's going to cause them to be treated kindly in Jeremiah 15. So all of this has to happen in our nation, where they're going to come and execute judgments among us and slay us and burn the houses with fire. The land is going to be desolate. But you'll see that in the prophecy. I'll connect it at the end, so if you haven't seen it. Behold, everyone that uses proverbs shall use this proverb against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is her daughter. Thou art thy mother's daughter, that loatheth her husband and her children, and thou art the sister of thy sisters, which loathe their husband and their children. Your mother was a Hittite, and your father an Amorite. It's like it's like when you were a kid, you used to say your mama this and your mama that. It's like an insult, but it is an insult. And thine elder sister is Samaria. Samaria, you guys, was like the capital of the northern kingdom. Jerusalem was the capital of the southern kingdom, and then you had Samaria, which was entirely worshiping idols, and Samaria was the capital there. So thy elder sister is Samaria, and Samaria, the northern kingdom, was destroyed first. Okay, so you would think that the southern kingdom, who actually had Jerusalem in the midst of it, it wasn't really difficult for them to serve. It was much more difficult for the northern kingdom because the travel was so much further, and they had a different king. So the king didn't want everyone to travel back to Jerusalem back and forth, because he was afraid that he would lose his kingdoms to the king of Jerusalem. So, but they never took their lesson. They ended up being destroyed as well. Anyway, so, and thine eldest sister is Samaria, she and her daughters that dwell at thy left hand, and thy younger sister that dwelleth at thy right hand is Sodom and her daughters. Yet hast thou not walked after their ways, nor done after their abominations, but as if it were a very little thing, thou wast corrupted more than they in all thy ways. In all thy ways. As I live, saith the Lord God, Sodom and thy sisters have not done, she nor her daughters, as thou hast done, thou and thy daughters. Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom. Pride, fullness of bread, and abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the land of the poor and needy. And they were haughty and committed abominations before me. Therefore I took them away as I saw good. Now, what does it say for us if it says that we were worse than them in all our ways? We are worse than them. Thou wast corrupt more than they in all thy ways. Yeah, but we talk about Sodom as if Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, let's continue on. Oh, we're almost done here. No, we're not. We still got about 12 verses. Neither has Samaria committed half of thy sins, but thou hast multiplied thine abominations more than they, and hast justified thy sisters in all thine abominations which thou hast done. Thou also, which hast judged thy sisters, bear thine own shame for thy sins, that thou hast committed more abominable than they. We already talked about that. They are more righteous than thou. Yea, be thou confounded also, and bear thy shame, and that thou hast justified thy sisters. when I shall bring again their captivity, the captivity of Sodom and her daughters, and the captivity of Samaria and her daughters, then I will bring again the captivity of thy captors in the midst of them. Then I will bring again the captivity of thy captors in the midst of them. So he's talking about when he brings them up from the dead to judge them. That thou mayest bear thine own shame, and mayest be confounded in all that thou hast done, and that thou art a comfort unto them. When thy sister Sodom and her daughters shall return to their former estate, and Samaria and her daughters shall return to their former estates, then thou and thy daughters shall return to your former estates. For thy sister Sodom was not mentioned in thy mouth in the day of thy pride. No, they weren't thinking about Sodom in the day of the pride. In the day of their pride, they were thinking about how great they were. They weren't thinking about Sodom when they should have been preaching the gospel and warning the people, not only about Sodom, but about the northern kingdom. The northern kingdom was right there. But they have Sodom in the Bible, so Sodom should have been an example as well, because the Bible specifically said that they are an example. So, before thy wickedness was discovered, as at the time of thy reproach of the daughter of Syria, and all that are round about her, the daughters of the Philistine, which despise thee round about. Thou hast borne thy lewdness and thine abomination, saith the Lord. For thus saith the Lord God, I will even deal with thee as thou hast done, which hast despised the oath in breaking the covenant of marriage. Nevertheless, I will remember my covenant with thee in the days of thy youth, and I will establish unto thee an everlasting covenant. Then thou shalt remember thy ways, and be ashamed when thou shalt receive thy sister, thine elder and thy younger, and I will give them unto thee for daughters, but not by thy covenant. And I will establish my covenant with thee, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Now, that doesn't mean everyone, of course. That's those that choose to stay married to Yahweh and follow his laws. Not everyone qualifies, but there are some. And I will establish my covenant with thee. And we know there's going to be a lot. Someone gave me the analogy one time. They said it's like on a beach. On a beach, you have all of the sand on the beach, and you might reach down and use both hands and pick up a great big handful of sand. But what is that to the rest of the sand on the beach? Solomon said he looked at 10,000 men, and not one of them were saved. I don't remember his words, but I saw he said not one of them was saved, or not saved, but something else. He looked at 10,000 women, and there wasn't one. Not one in 10,000. Oh, just think about that. Oh, it's not good. And I will establish my covenant with thee, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, that thou mayest remember and be confounded, and never open thy mouth any more because of thy shame, when I am pacified toward thee for all that thou hast done, saith the Lord God. Okay, so that's the parable of us and our relationship with Yahushua. Anyway, I don't have anything else to say about it, I guess. These parables kind of speak for themselves. You don't really need me for them, but just in case. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Until next time, bye.